Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I want to make some projections about the coming decade, the rest of the 2020s, that I strongly believe will happen over the next decade. Earlier today, I was finalizing a new job that I'm starting soon, and I mentioned that I used a very interesting password and it got it pushed right through. I said I had a pilgrimage to tend to on October 14, and it would be all right with them, so that's good. But I like how they didn't question what I was doing. Had I said I'm going on vacation, for some reason, vacation has this connotation of laziness, right? Pilgrimage, oh, it's a personal business. We can't really, it's a religious matter. We really shouldn't dig into it, right? I really liked it. I got to use that word a little bit more, but I'm saddened that I have to use that word. And I hope over the coming decade, people will recognize that everybody has different lifestyles, right? I think it's kind of wrong if you ask for any sort of vacation for somebody to dig into why you're going on vacation, what you're doing, and all that, and to make judgment calls based on that. I'm kind of optimistic that will go away. I really am. Some of the more progressive workplaces I've seen have already made that go away, but I like how I was able to use. I wish I had used this word at my last job. I got a little bit too carried away with wanting equality that I forgot that I could still play their game a little bit. Anyways, some keywords I discovered over the last few weeks. Pilgrimage, when you need to go on a vacation. If you wake up and you need a mental health day, I have a family matter to tend to. I discovered that those two words really push through all the judgment and the questions, and but hopefully in the next decade this will be a thing of the past. Now I think I'm really optimistic about this next one. I hope that over the next decade we'll see a really famous person marry themselves, a solo sexual wedding ceremony. And I think this will happen. It kind of already happens unofficially, right? So, but I want there to be an official ceremony that a lot of people are, especially if it's somebody famous, and it's televised and billions of people are watching this individual marry themselves. It kind of already happens unofficially. A lot of people probably don't recognize it when it does happen. That's the problem. And I think a lot of, 50% of us are probably closeted solosexuals as it is, right? And a lot of famous people even don't. I think it's one of those things that we're just waiting for there to be a mass of people, right? Once a few people come out of the closet, more people can come out of the closet, and it gathers mass, right? And I think by the end of this decade, we'll be talking about solo sexuality, just like we now talk about gay marriage and all that. Now, there is one thing I'm a little bit worried about. There's a lot of discussion about our president and how he's old and he might die in office or get sick in office. Now we haven't lost a president in office since JFK, and I think this generation doesn't know how to handle it. I really think even as much as we dislike our president, we're going to really strongly dislike losing him without warning, and I think it will cause a heck of a lot of chaos. But at the same time, I look forward to it because I take advantage of chaos every time it happens. I made a lot of money off of the 2008 financial crisis when a lot of precious metals were depressed. I bought a lot during that dip. I bought a lot during the COVID crisis as well, but I really stocked up on foreign stocks and mining stocks and the rare earth mining ETF especially. And so the death of a president, I think, will be a windfall for me as well. Not that I would hope that it happens or encourage it to happen, but I think if it were to happen, it would be a big windfall for me. And sooner or later, something's going to happen, right? Maybe not with Let's Go Brandon, but sooner or later, right? And as for the inflation that's going on, I suspect, right now everybody's talking about Bitcoin, but I suspect when shit hits the fans, so in the 70s, the Hunt brothers tried to buy silver, and it resulted in silver going to the moon. And the Feds quickly changed the rules, right? Now imagine the Hunt brothers doing that to a metal that isn't being sold on leverage, and the Feds don't have a huge stockpile of it. And it's just ordinary people taking not that much money because it's relatively inexpensive relative to the amount of stock we have, and the Feds are just powerless to do so. It would be kind of like Bitcoin, but with a physical thing, right? And so I'll let you decide what metal that could be. There's, I want to say 1 or 2 dozen metals only on the periodic table that this could reasonably happen with, right? Not that many to get your hands on. Most of them are very undervalued relative to gold and silver. And so I suspect we'll see a 1970s event where one of these metals goes up as much as silver did in the 70s, but it doesn't correct again, right? It just becomes the new currency, kind of like Bitcoin is trying to do right now, right? Although Bitcoin is not really a currency, because currencies require that they are usable without electronic infrastructure, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.